Well guys, it's the moment of truth. Just got the starter installed and the turbo actuator. So the turbo actuator leg is on. I did not install the C-clamp. For now, it is not necessary. But we're ready to go here, guys. So battery is now connected and this is the strongest one we have. I don't know what's gonna happen, but I'm hoping for some good news. So let's try to do this. Pre-warm the glow plugs a little bit. Okay. Not a good thing for the starter part. It seems like it's spinning weakly at that, and it's stopping as it's spinning. And this is the first time I had anything to do with it. I mean, we could be running on low battery somehow. I don't know why would we be. But since I bought this battery, I did not actually charge it up or nothing. All we've been trying to do is start it last time. So possibly we're dealing with a little bit of a weak battery. So let me bring the jumper cables, plug everything up, let it sit a little bit, and then we'll go from there. So I'm gonna go ahead and actually set it on engine start. So we'll see what happens. It shouldn't be dead. I didn't get that much spins out of it to begin with. The way it's spinning, I don't even know. I mean, it doesn't even sound like the engine is spinning. So guys, I've been having things on charge for maybe about like 10 minutes. I decided to grab a 27-inch socket and like a LUN bar wrench. I want to rotate the engine, see what kind of rotation are we getting. You know what, guys? My impressions are not good. This engine seems like it only want to rotate. So I really don't know what the starter is starting. Probably should have checked this to begin with. But don't want to rotate. And it really should rotate, guys. Guys, this is why it kind of sucks. When you're having to start everything by yourself, there's certain things you can't really monitor. And at this point, I'm really not understanding this. Why is the engine not rotating? Like, it seems like completely stuck. So that's why I was kind of like wondering when I was actually spinning, like, what's actually going on? Like, it doesn't sound like the engine's actually rotating to actually try to start. So it just seems right now, seems like it's completely locked up, guys. There's nothing, absolutely nothing going on. Not sure if I could do anything this way. Nothing. It's just dead. Let's bring a bar. Try to do it with that. I do have a a breaker bar here. Hey guys, I mean, I hate to tell you, seems like the engine's seized up. I mean, this is quite of a news to me, because last time when I was actually trying to start it, it started a little bit. When it actually started up, I think it was at that moment that actually started up. It probably seized up right at that moment. Probably why it didn't continue firing up. So, I mean, you could kind of see the force that I'm applying here. I mean, anymore, and I'm gonna break my breaker bar clean off. Man, this is not good. So, a couple things could have happened. I mean, because this engine, this motor engine, which one is correct? This engine has been sitting for a while, and there's a good chance that the rings got rusted. So when I actually started, starting it, they could have twisted or bent or broken. Anything could happen. They could just wedge themselves in such a spot where it won't rotate anymore. So that is one theory, and another theory is, I mean, and maybe this initially was actually what happened, that the engine just had a really difficult time turning over because the main bearings are bad in it. They're just catching, or they're twisting over. So this could have happened. The other vehicle that I have, which is this one here, that I ended up taking apart, it's the same story. I bought it with the guy driving this thing on the highway. He said soon after he fueled up, he stalled out. So same thing was happening with this one. He had a real difficult time turning over for his engine, and it would, at times it would just kind of like lock up. It would be just standing there, but then you could rock it back and forth, get it kind of like unlocked, and get the engine to twist over, but it would not start. So similar thing was happening with this one. I was actually trying to get it started when I had it here, and I got it started just a little bit, and then it locked up. So I think that's what happened to this engine. Very similar thing. Of course, this engine does have 750,000 miles on it, so that could happen really easily. That other one only 450,000. But this is a really old engine, so it could have been very likely that the main bearing could have slipped over. As a matter of fact, when I was starting it, I kind of detected a little knock on the engine. I wasn't sure if it was a true knock, but it seemed like it had one. But it was really soon, too soon to tell. And I think also one of my viewers have pointed out as well. But anyways, one last try. I'm gonna put it on start. I'm gonna try to rotate it, see what happens. So that's all that's happening. Now this similar sound, this was what was happening before, except it was really late at night and I was just keep trying to rotate, and it seemed like the starter was about to go out. It rotated kind of quietly, and it seemed like it didn't have enough power, and the starter ended up dying afterwards. But I'm kind of thinking that it is spinning the flywheel. The only thing I don't get is, how is it spinning the flywheel and the engine's not even rotating? So I'm gonna have to get one of my kids to start it for me. I want to observe the flywheel. I don't really know what's happening here, or I'm just gonna go ahead and actually use my camera to do it. Well guys, to my surprise, it is rotating. Like this flywheel, it is rotating. Slow, but it is rotating. But one thing I cannot tell is, why is it not rotating when I try to rotate it with my bar? That I don't understand. I mean, we do have another engine that's taken apart, and I could go take a look at this portion that's trying to rotate, but I can't really understand like why it's rotating with the key. So it seems like it's almost like no restriction. Maybe the starter is just too strong and it's able to rotate, but it's not rotating when I try to do it by hand. And we'll take the tow bar once again and stick it on it. No, like absolutely not. So it's not rotating this way. The only thing I can get it to do is I could actually get the bolt loose. That's the only thing that I can do. Which actually, what I'm going to end up doing, I'm just going to loosen up this bolt. Maybe if I loosen it, it's going to have an easier time rotating. So it's rotating now. Always trial and error. So it's rotating this way. And it's rotated this way. So that's all that it's doing. Guys, I'm not gonna say I'm a motorist. I could easily miss things, and just like the rest of you, a lot of times I get stumped. But one thing I will tell you, I always think outside the box. But I was actually thinking this engine is dead. I was thinking about making a video and just saying this engine is dead. But is it? Let's go back and try to start it now. So maybe this is too soon, but this seems like a little bit of a good news. At least it's rotating a little bit more lively. Every 30 seconds of spin, guys, you should let the starter, cool off a little bit, like a minute or something. That's not a good sign. So while we're letting the starter cool off, I will go to the front. I'll let these things charge So let's see what's going on if I'm gonna try to rotate it. And smells like electrical smoke here, guys. I've been really sick for a couple weeks. Okay, guys, maybe it is the OA. I mean, look, we're getting some spin, but right now it's acting locked up again. It really is. So I was kind of thinking, is it something that I did? Is it something that I did to make it lock up? I was thinking, but it's acting locked up right now. And when I was spinning it, it just kind of like locked up, and that's it. I mean, this engine, I might just have to accept it. It's probably a goner. I'm not saying it can be rebuilt, but I'm saying in its current state, it needs to be rebuilt or parted out. One thing for sure, it's a sign of really heavy spin. It's a sign of good compression, actually. So that was spinning really easy. You know, this is kind of getting in the way. I'm just gonna go ahead and remove this fan, I think. I wonder if I could actually remove the fan with this radiator being in the way. Let's see, 1, 2, 3. Normally I lock it up, but this time I'm not locking it up. Okay. I don't recommend you doing it like I did, but I kind of use my arm to lock up the fan against. So fan is removed now. We should have a little bit more clearance. It seems like I'm gonna need it. One of the rules I have, guys, if I remove any kind of bolt, do go ahead and actually insert it where it needs to be. That way I end up not losing it. So let's see. You know, I don't know if any of this stuff is gonna help, but I might be getting the main bearings unstuck this way if they are a problem. Like right now, that was the easy pull. That was the easy pull, and possibly main bearings are getting stuck. And right now, it seems like it got unstuck. When I go turn it the other way, it seems they get really stuck again. And that's it. But the engine, when you try to rotate it, guys, if it has good compression, first it's gonna rotate, then you're gonna come to the hard point. It's gonna be really hard to twist over, and on a good compression engine, very hard to twist over, because at the time the compression is actually happening. So this could be telling me that, with the way it's spinning like that, it's telling me that It's probably bad compression here. And I do have a compression tool to test the compression. But at this point, that's not what I'm doing, so. So right now things are spinning kind of good. And the bolt is not getting loose. It's spinning together. My battery just died. But one thing I will tell you guys, I really don't care if this engine starts or not. But I do want to make sure we find out, you know, what's wrong with this engine. Why is it not starting? Because this might be an easy fix. This might be a tear down and rebuild of the engine. But I am not an engine rebuilder. I would like to learn, and there's a good chance that I will learn from the amount of stuff that I know about the Sprinter. I haven't rebuilt one yet. I have a pretty good idea how to do it, but I'm more of a person that is able to diagnose the Sprinter correctly and get it running again if nothing major has happened. But when something major happens, especially what I don't know what's happened with this engine, I don't have the full story, it leaves me guessing, and it leaves me trying to do my best to try to figure things out. So I would like to say, hey, you know, we could solve this issue and, you know, we could get this van going, because who knows, somebody out there probably having the same issue. I could almost bet that somebody's having the same issue right now, and that person's probably wondering, like, what is wrong with this engine? Could this be happening to mine? Can I fix it? So this is why I'm doing as much as I'm doing to it. Perhaps we will stumble upon an answer. So that being said, I have this wrench again. So we were spinning this counterclockwise because spinning it clockwise was making things tighter, and it would obviously not rotate. You've seen that in the beginning of the video. So counterclockwise, we get it, you know, spinning this way, and when I actually did a few turns, it started actually turning much easier. So now we're gonna spin it clockwise, and we're gonna see what's it really going to take for this engine to get stuck. And by the way, if anybody's wondering why we're doing this with no belts, well, it's been sitting for a while, and things like that, like pulleys and stuff, they could easily lock up. So I really would want least amount of resistance as possible, like that. Even like that AC thing is not spinning. So you know, almost like it's gonna start spinning again, you know, if you keep tapping on it. So I'm gonna spin it right way, we're spinning clockwise. So let's see if it's gonna get stuck again. So far so good, and that was an easy churn. So almost seems like the engine churned over. It went to the portion of where it's compressing air inside of the block. I mean, there's really nothing else to compress in there, and then it was easy churn. So now things are beginning to be hard, and then so now it's easy again. I will tell you as we go along, just because when you're going to be spinning yours, you might want to find out. So that was an easy one. So now we came up on a hard one. Now it's becoming easy again. Man, guys, I'm over here, I'm sick, I have a cold, and I'm over here trying to work on a Sprinter, and tomorrow's the 31st, and here I am. So all of these times, three in a row, easy spin. Now we're having resistance, easy spin again. So that's telling me there's compression. So the low compression seems like it's out of the question. This engine does have compression. In case you're having the same issue, a little bit of words of encouragement from me right now, and a little bit of advice. Okay, guys, this has happened to me before. I left my good van that is still running today sit for about a couple years before I actually got around to doing what I was doing. Nothing was wrong with the engine, nothing. We had a rear, you know, rear end issue. And guys, when I tried to start it, we had smoking wires, nothing was happening. This engine didn't want to rotate at all. I mean, I was actually worried that that engine a gunner. And if I was, let's say, like a buyer for that van, there is no way I would have believed somebody that engine was anytime good. I would think that was a bad engine. But you know what? Because I knew that was a good engine, here's what I did. I opened up this oil can right here. Well, oil reservoir, whatever you want to call it. When I'm tired, I call things really funny names. But I opened it up, guys, and I filled it up with 35 quarts of oil, together mixed with transmission fluid. The oil that I've used was used oil. Some of that transmission fluid was new and some of it was used, but I filled it up to till the brim, guys. And if I had that much transmission fluid, it would have been nothing but transmission fluid. But I figured, listen, let's mix it with oil. It don't even matter, guys. I let it sit like that a week. I came back, I drained all the oil, replaced it with 5 quarts of good oil. Man, I started rotating. It was rotating really easy, and I got that van started. So, but anyways, words of encouragement aside, so that was right now a hard portion towards the end, but not hard enough. And again, a soft one, a soft. That's a soft churn. That's a hard churn right here. That's a hard one. And now I got over that hard area, soft again. So that's one that's actually compressing everything. So we're gonna leave things like this. Gonna put this back on start. And wish me luck, guys. I put in so much effort into this, and I really don't even care if this works or not. So let's let it sit there, cool off. This time I really don't want to kill the starter before it's time for its death. Let's observe what happened with the engine. It seemed like it locked up at the end. Yeah, it sure did. But it's churning, so not having that fan, it is helping me. So mechanics out there, what do you think is happening? Do we have dry rings? Is this what it is? Dry rings not letting us spin? Could be, right? Rings twisting over a little bit, getting scraped, getting stuck. Could be, I think. So right now, really hard to turn right there. Really hard to turn. That's, see, really difficult right there. Real difficult. That's almost like main bearings turning over. And I'm continuing this to see when is it gonna stop rotating. As you can see, turning with very difficulty. I mean, after all, it's supposed to be spinning this way, guys. If I can't get it to spin this way, then what am I doing, right? So I think we're reaching its peak. So time to spin it counterclockwise. So sometimes if a starter's having difficulty rotating, it stops. There's a good chance that it's inside of the engine. So things are rotating good again. Well guys, let's go ahead and try to start it. At this point, I don't have much hope. It just got stuck again. So one thing I will tell you guys, it is a good starter. As for the engine, it's probably not. That's all I gotta say. Well guys, I just tried to start it again off camera. After off camera, twist the engine back to the left side. Well, here's what I'm gonna say, guys. This engine is the problem. It's not gonna get any better. So, like right now, this is when it actually stopped. It's having a difficulty rotating, and this is why it stops. And I think the reason for that is this engine has seen better days. These main bearings are so worn, they're probably flippity floppity back and forth, sometimes getting the engine stuck, sometimes not. I've seen this issue before, and it was pretty apparent then, and it's pretty apparent now that the main bearings, they're just loose in here and they're just getting stuck. That's what's happening. So this is my theory, because if we had an issue with, let's say, like a ring or something, I think it would not get easier to spin and then harder to spin. I think this spin is directly correlated to the bearings itself. This is why it's getting stuck. So having an issue with the rings, probably not. Bearings, definitely yes. So one last time, and then this engine will be DOA. So let's see. And look, just get stuck, so I'm smelling lots of rubber. Look, you see, we're having all the smoke, and it's because there's a lot of resistance that's going on with the cables. So we're having this type of this yeah, so it's coming from the starter and everywhere. It's just basically my cables are heating up. I am sending 200 amps to them. I could feel that they are a little warm. Yeah, definitely. Guys, this is probably why my starter's been kind of dying, because they're struggling to really turn this engine over, and then ultimately just end up dying. But anyways, guys, I'd say this is not a failure. We were doing this to try to figure out what the issue with this engine and to see if we could get it actually started. But obviously it does, you know, it was starting a little bit and then kind of like dying at the same time. A really good indicator. The reason it's dying is just can't really keep up the rotation. Probably why it was getting some crankshaft codes, because it's not rotating fast enough, and crankshaft position sensor is actually picking that up. Of course, you guys probably thinking what crankshaft codes, but I haven't been reading any codes this time, but these codes were showing up for both shops and including myself on the tester. So constantly crankshaft code. So this engine is you know, it's not good, and I think it can be good if you replace the main bearings. So simple as that. But most likely I won't be rebuilding it. I'm just gonna part it out and let somebody else deal with that. So, but anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Let me know if you're looking for any sprinter parts. Seems like I'm gonna be parting this one out. So yeah, thanks for watching. Take care. Bye bye.
My name is Serge Zimaleta. I'm 37 years old, and yes, I experienced success after buying my first home for cash. Back in 2011, I was broke, but I learned to solve problems on my own. Now, I'm helping others to solve their problems. I know what pitfalls to avoid to stay profitable in business. Need motivation to be more successful in your life? Do you have sprint or expedite or business problems? Then subscribe. Let's find creative solutions to your problems. Hit the bell notification so you don't miss any of my helpful videos.